Greetings, everyone. Spider-Man 1991 here to talk about comic books for the week. Amazing Spider-Man 628. The first one I usually kick off with, so let's get it started. Okay, all I can say is, let me summarize the main points. Spider-Man meets Captain Universe while in Juggernaut's cell, then throws Juggernaut off with Spider-Man, and they crash land New Jersey. Then Spider-Man grabs onto Captain Universe, leads him towards the city, then leads him on a wild goose chase while Juggernaut wakes up, gets his helmet, makes a new helmet, goes off to find out who attacked him. Then Spider-Man still finds Captain Universe, and then the Enigma Force starts speaking to Captain Universe to go down and heal some fault cracks. And while Captain Universe is doing this, he senses the Juggernaut right above him, and he immediately leaves his mission to go after the Juggernaut. So now it's a fight between Juggernaut and Captain Universe. And then all of a sudden, Captain Universe releases a huge energy burst, saying that he's going to make them both suffer. And we get a little co-feature back here that just shows how hard life is for Peter Parker now that he's unemployed, and he missed a job interview because he had to stop the Absorbing Man, and how he's low on cash. Okay, so far for the main story, gotta say, I'm a little, well, I do like how they're using both. It seems like most of these stories all have to do with elements of the Spider-Man stories of the past. I mean, briefly, Spider-Man was possessed by the Enigma Force and became Captain Universe, and of course he did fight the Juggernaut. So this does not directly tie into the gauntlet going on, but hopefully all this stuff will just build up to something great. And as far as the Peter Parker unemployed feature, I think we all had a pretty good idea how hard unemployed life is for Peter Parker. Alright, next up, Ultimate Comics, Spider-Man number 9. Alright, we cut to the mother-daughter team seen in earlier issues robbing an armored truck when Spider-Girl shows up. Wait, is it Spider-Girl or Spider-Woman? Yeah, I believe it is Spider-Woman. So anyway, she shows up, takes him down, then Johnny Storm lends a hand, and he starts flirting with her. And then afterwards, Jessica and Johnny talk, and he asks her out, she says yes. And then Gwen grabs Peter while they're in school into the girls' room, and there's Mary Jane and Kitty Pryde, and they tell him that he needs a haircut, and it makes his head look completely loud and round in a Spider-Man mask. And so basically now that all three of his ex-girlfriends hold him down to give him a haircut. Of course, Aunt May likes it, Bobby's making fun of him, and Johnny's happy because he's in love, and Johnny's just relieved because he's dating someone real, someone who's relatable to the superhero thing and not some of all the models he dated in the past. And he says he dated Spider-Girl and he's dated Spider-Woman, made out with her, and Peter just freaks out and runs away. And saying he needs to get his mind off of this. So we get montage! I mean, Peter says, oh man, this cannot take my mind off it at all. The next day at school, Men in Black show up and ask Kitty Pryde to collect her things and leave. And she's getting frustrated now that she can't attend regular school just because she's a mutant. And then Peter says, Kitty, calm down. They want you to flip out. They want an accident. And then they start taking out guns. And Peter says to Kitty, run! Alright. First of all, the thing with Kitty Pryde, it was probably bound to happen. And I guess it's maybe good or something to get out of the way. But as far as the thing with Spider-Woman and Human Torch, I'm gonna laugh my ass off when I hear Peter or Jessica or someone telling Johnny, like, yeah, she's actually Peter's clone. So technically, you made out with Peter. I'm just gonna love that moment of revelation to Johnny, like, she's his clone. Oh man, this is just freaky. Well, anyway, Spider-Man, Ultimate Comics, Spider-Man number 9. It was a great read. I loved it. And I've been loving the series so far. I mean, and if you haven't been getting it, shame on you. Alright, next up, another Siege one-shot. Which, of course, is the overall theme of the Marvel Comics today, Spider-Man. FYI, I did know a new issue of Web of Spider-Man number 7 is out. I just didn't bother getting it because it was Craven, and I just didn't care about reading any more Gauntlet backup stories or stories I have no interest in, so I just decided not to get that issue. Right? Siege Spider-Man. Cut to Venom thinking to himself how he loves eating Asgardians. Then Spider-Man shows up out to get revenge on Gargan for impersonating him and stuff, and threatening the mayor. So they start brawling. Their brawl goes from Asgard onto a helicarrier, not a helicarrier, a small helijet thing, then into the city and then in the nearby town. They start fighting, and then Miss Marvel shows up to lend a hand. And Peter says that and she asks him, "What are you doing here?" And he says, "Oh, come on, I've been more of a street guy anyway." And Miss Marvel decides to help Spidey out by ripping out Matt Gargan from the symbiote. But unfortunately, the symbiote then attaches to bonds with Miss Marvel. So now it's trying to kill Spider-Man, and then Spider-Man gets an idea and decides to lead Miss Marvel to a church, but to his shock, no bell. Kicks her, then he hears Miss Marvel from inside saying she needs more energy, and Spidey gets it, knocks her into a fuse box, and boom! Freedom! But Gargan rebonds the symbiote, and then I love this shot where Spidey just says, "Okay, that's it," and he just yanks out Venom's tongue. And it grows back, by the way. Alright, now they agree to take Venom out by playing a little game of baseball. Spidey's got the ball, Miss Marvel's at bat. Boom! Pow! Right in the kisser. And now they go off back to Asgard, and Peter says that he still feels like the nerdy kid in Queens, and that he really shouldn't be there, and that he really hates how he really doesn't feel right being with the Avengers in Asgard and stuff. But Miss Marvel says she likes him here in the clouds, and then Peter mentions, "Yeah, the symbiote said that it felt your emotions, and there are things about me." She says, "Shut up." And earlier, Peter does mention to Miss Marvel that the sociopath pretending to be him is worse than hers because Moonstone did not eat squirrels. Okay, I'm pretty sure people should have gotten that wasn't the real Spider-Man once he started to eat squirrels. Alright, if anyone saw that, then they should have just assumed, wait, Spider-Man's eating... That's not the real Spider-Man! Really. It makes you wonder how stupid civilians are in comics. Anyway, Siege of Spider-Man, I don't know. I mean, it just seemed like a back and forth of Venom. It did seem to be a chance for Spider-Man to let off some steam at Venom for taking his identity. I mean, he seems to have issues with both Norman Osborn, mainly because, well, if you don't know, shame on you, and Venom really more, I don't know, it's kind of, he should have slightly more steam at Osborn, but more at Venom right now because Venom basically stole his identity and masqueraded as a member of Osborn's team, which really I did enjoy how he ripped out the tongue, though, which seemed to be a perfect way of getting some revenge, but it should have been a lot more violent. Alright, that concludes my Marvel titles for this week. Stay tuned for DC Comics. Later.